And that's just my particular take. I'm in the minority on it. But what it addresses a bigger issue that I'm making a point of, which is white filmmakers in South Africa making films about quote-unquote black subject matter and making careers out of it for themselves, right? And to me, because I was a South African, and I could have come back to South Africa after '85 when Mandela came out of prison. I could have come back. I could have gone. I was already a commercial director. I could have come back and directed here and done what everybody else did, right? And make a career. It's much easier. Believe me, it's a lot easier to be a filmmaker down here and go and get some government funding and come up with your idea. Back then, at least in the early days, maybe it still is, and make a movie, and then it gets into all these film festivals because you check all the boxes. Remember how film festivals work, right? There's all these curators. They don't cut you any breaks for being a director from New York City or LA, right? Especially if you're a white guy. You don't get checked in the boxes. Maybe if you're a transgender cross-dresser from LA, you'll get some points, right? Or whatever. I mean, you can't knock Ryan Coogler, with the guy, because Fruitvale Station was a really good movie, right? But he didn't get, I guarantee you, before he made Fruit, they may have given him check some boxes when he entered the film into Sundance, but nobody sure as fuck was giving him any money to make that film. Being a black filmmaker in the ghetto in LA or New York is fucking difficult. There ain't no places you can apply for money, right? So, Noel, whatever his name is, Blomkopf, whatever his name is, he was working in New Zealand, the whitest place on earth. Let's go to New Zealand, where we only take white immigrants, right? Especially, whatever, Australia, those places, right? So he's working there, and he's doing very well, and he gets Peter Jackson to back him, and he goes and makes, what am I going to do for my first movie? Well, I've got nothing really in my head. I want to go back and make a movie about South Africa and this and that and this, and that's what he did, right? And a sci-fi movie that's a metaphor for the race. I don't know. To me, that's just hypocritical bullshit. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I'm mad. Yeah. And you want to hear it again? That's how I feel. Yeah. I don't know what my name is. Thank you.
You like just blew in and
blew in and blew it up. That's exactly what I do. There's a lot of people who are going to be really fucking pissed off, let me tell you. But that's okay with me.
If you are needed here on a daily speaking tour in the country.
Dude, I'll probably get assassinated. Who's going to be my bodyguard? I mean, when I'm in fucking Venice, dude, let me tell you, I'm used to hanging out with hardcore gang guys, dude. I have a lot of friends, right? So I know who my friends are. I haven't quite established who my friends are yet, but I've got a good idea.
I think that we also had a second point.
Oh, sorry, I can't understand when you're talking to so fast. Slow down.
Okay, yeah, you've lost that South African way.
No, I'm just holding, I'm getting deaf.
Talking about knowing the area, stay on the Atlantic seaboard in Cape Town, and you look out in that area, Bantry Bay Seaboard. But I'm linking it now to what I want to say is, we are disrupting white privilege in South Africa.
Oh yes,
and
we are.
How do we tackle it at home?
That's what I'm telling you to do.
So we need that film made. Just give us some.
But I'm not going to. My point, right? Let me loop back around what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right? As a quote unquote whatever, I was born here. When I came through the passport, I could still get a South African passport. I could be a white South African Jewish filmmaker from Seapoint, no problem, right? I could do that. That would be playing right into white privilege that exists, always has existed, and it hasn't stopped existing. And I see those paradigms all the time. So that's really what I'm talking about here is the course that my dear friend Catherine Bigelow was the first woman to get an Academy Award. We taught a course together at Columbia University, and it was called Deconstructing the Cinema. And what we had to look, we were in that era when the main filmmakers were George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and all those guys, right? And they were like 10 or 15 years older than us. And believe me, they ruled filmmaking. There was Scorsese, Spielberg, Lucas, Coppola. How the fuck do you get money to make a movie? You're in America, dude. There's nowhere to go, right? And we had to understand what deconstructing that cinematic environment was, and believe me, there weren't a lot of women directing, right? And Catherine saw that space in genre filmmaking, right? She didn't start making intellectual films about, oh, I don't know, a documentary about, I don't know, whatever, I don't even want to insult anybody, but I can say it in 2 seconds, right? She wasn't going to make that movie. She wanted to make, this was her agenda, to make the best action movie that was directed not by a man or a woman, by anyone. She wasn't looking to define herself in gender politics. She was looking to define herself as a fucking sharp motherfucking filmmaker that you could not ignore, right? And to me, that's where the key is. Not to ride on the shoulders of some political agenda, and not to ride on the shoulders of some entitlement from your birth. In the end, the only thing that's going to sell for you is how good your movie is. Because there's a reason why Black Panther has been one of the greatest, biggest budget movies of all time. And I'm sorry, there's not that many black people in the whole world. They made it, they were the only guys who went to see it, right? Everybody went to see it. Because whether you like it or not, and I don't think Ryan Coogler is technically the best filmmaker, it must have been, imagine he made one other film and he was doing $120 million Marvel Comics. Dude, you know what that felt like on his shoulders, dude? That was a trip, right? It's how Barack Obama felt when he became president, right? That's the issue, is to find the fucking key to the door, right? And the only way you're going to find the key to the door is through subject matter that you know. You can't write a novel, you can't make a movie about something that isn't personal that you know. So you've got to know it.
We had a second question
Yeah.
from there.